Welcome back. The NBA draft lottery is over. The NBA draft is still going on, of course. We are currently on the 16th pick, but I am going to talk about the lottery. And then I will probably make another video or we will discuss the rest of the draft in a separate video because the second round is obviously tomorrow, too. Um, but the NBA draft lottery, of course. This is how this is how the draft is looking right now. Let me get it up here for us. So the Mavericks take Cooper Flag. No surprise there. I mean, Cooper Flag is the guy. He averaged 19, 7, 4, 38% from three, 48% from the field, led Duke in all major statistical categories, Naismith College Player of the Year, and just the guy. Like, there was no debate. He was going number one. I'm sure people were trying to entertain the idea of it being traded. Jalen Brown or even Kevin Durant got traded, but this pick was not getting traded. They're not trading the first round pick or first overall pick um, for Jalen Brown. Sorry, I'm just looking at Shams as we're doing this. Um, so yeah, no surprises there. Dylan Harper, this was the real pick that, like, if this got traded, it means it was a really big trade. It did not get traded. Dylan Harper, number two, to the San Antonio Spurs. Again, no brainer, nothing really to say about that one. Dylan Harper is the best guard in the draft, easily number two, and San Antonio will be able to make it work, even though they got now Fox, Castle, and Dylan Harper. Those guys are all good enough to where they can play off the ball, and have the skill sets to where they don't need to be the prime ball handler 100% of the time. Number three, this is where I was really um intrigued where this was going to go. I thought that the position that Philly was put in, I thought was so unfair. Um, or I don't know if unfair is the word, but I feel like they were in a hard spot for sure. Like, because Ace Bailey declined their draft workout. Ace Bailey didn't work out with anybody. We know that whole situation. But Ace Bailey was the best player there. I could see if some people said VJ Edgecombe, but that's it. He no lower than four, but Ace Bailey was the third best prospect. He's a legit 18-year-old player. He is a um one of the best scorers, one of the most versatile scorers we have. 17 and 7, 35% from three, 46% from the field. Super athletic as well. Just an all-around scorer. And I thought that was perfect of what Philly could use because Paul George wasn't really that. Embiid obviously gets hurt often. Who know? Who know? Nobody knows what's happening with Embiid at right now. But they take VJ Edgecombe. Um, if you're not taking Ace Bailey, that was the right pick. I'm a big fan of VJ Edgecombe. I said when I was talking about VJ Edgecombe, I had him as my fourth prospect, um, right under Ace. But I wasn't doing this as a mock draft. I was doing it as just like what the best prospects are. I mean, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Um, he was pretty much widely considered number four over like ESPN and no ceilings. But I mean, 6'5", 180, a great two-way player. I kind of compared him to more of like the younger version of Anthony Edwards, like a super athlete. The three-point shot isn't like the strong suit yet, like current Anthony Edwards is, but just a freak athlete. And I mean, again, that is the right pick. He could become a decent secondary playmaker. They do have kind of a logjam of guards between Maxey, Grimes, McCain. I mean, he's going to get minutes because I think they'll play him around at the three sometimes. Maybe they'll let him play a little bit of one. He'll obviously play some two. Averaged over 2 steals per game at Baylor. Like this is a great pick. It's a great pick. and I imagine that um, his development he will probably be one of the best rookies in this class as we get there. And he made me even bigger fan learning about everything watching the draft, everything he's doing for the in Bahamas where he's from, already starting like foundations and schools, and he's in the league now, but wasn't even in the league yet. So that made me just an even bigger fan. Um, so good for them. There was a trade the Grizzlies traded. I, listen. I am not the biggest draft guy here. If you are looking for high level draft expertise here, I'm not the guy. I'm not gonna toot my own horn. I'm not about to lie to you guys. I'm just saying based on what the teams look like, excuse me, and everything like that, what I think about these players. And then the Hornets kind of surprised me a little. Con Knipple, he was going to go, I would assume top 6, top 7. I didn't expect the Hornets to take Con Knipple here. I'm not going to lie. Con Knipple is one of the better shooters, if not the best shooter, probably in this draft. I had him as my 8th prospect. ESPN had him at 8, No Ceilings had him at 5th, and Fanspo had him at 6th. He shot over 40% from threes. That mainly was his game, 6'7". I compared him to like a Kevin Huerter type player. Because I don't know how high his ceiling can be. And this is kind of the second year in a row that they take somebody that we don't really know how high their ceiling can be. Tajon Salon last year didn't have a great rookie season, and he was picked 6th, 5th. I don't know. He was picked in the top 7, I believe. We didn't have a great rookie season. I mean, I'm not against this because 3-point shooting is one of the most valuable things in this league, but I thought that they were going to go for more upside. Obviously, Ace Bailey didn't want to go there either. Which we're about to get to. Ace Bailey didn't want to go to Charlotte, so that whatever, but I was expecting like a Trey Johnson here. Since VJ went 3. So that kind of surprised me. And then number 5, we get the Ace Bailey pick. Danny Ainge, man, he is a guy that he is going to get what he wants. He is one of the better GMs in the league, and he takes Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey said Utah was one of the destinations he did not want to be in at all, and they take him anyways. I was saying I would be surprised if he ends the night on this team, and it looks like he's about to end the night on this team. So there we go. I don't remember around where this happened, but or we'll talk about player trades after actually, because there's other things to happen. Number 6 was Trey Johnson to the Wizards, best player available, I think, at that time. Another guard, they took Bub Carrington last year. They just traded for CJ a few days. That might have been yesterday. I don't know. Everything's blending together. And we have barely even started the off season, but they traded for CJ. They've got Bub Carrington. I like Trey Johnson. I think is the best scorer in this draft. Best pure scorer we have in this draft. I had him as my number 5th prospect when I was doing this. He averaged just under 20 a game, 43% from the field. He was pretty much widely considered to be 5 or maybe 6. He shot 40% from 3 at Texas on almost 7 attempts. He can get his playmaking up there. I expect him to be a 15-point per game scorer in his rookie year. Just because that's what he is. Hard to find for a comp like that because he was some of the pure scorers in the league that came to mind, like a Cam Thomas. Like I think his defense and like his pet, like I think he will be better than those guys and can do a little bit more than what like a Cam Thomas can defensively and things like that. But again, I am not a draft expert. It's not the last time I'm going to say it. So I'm just doing this based on how I see things, how I whatever. My flaws, I'm learning. All right. This is a year that I was not as into. I was more in tune last year and the year before to the draft than I was this year, and that's my mistake. But we'll go with what we want. Pelicans. Pelicans. Um, take Jeremiah Fears as 7. Another guard. I was kind of saying like it might suck for whoever gets drafted here if they're not a center because there's so many players at guard and forward over there. We talk about now Jordan Poole, DeJounte Murray, Jordan Hawkins, Jose Alvarado. Um, I'm sure there's someone else, and then wings. You got Trey Murphy, you got Herb Jones, Zion, Brandon Boston, like everything. And then at center, you got like Yves Missy. They traded Jordan Poole, or not Jordan Poole, Kelly Olynyk, obviously. Um, so I was kind of hoping they took a center there. They didn't, but Jeremiah Fears is a good player. The Nets, they take Jaeger Demon, who 6'8" draft. Jaeger Demon had a up and down year, of course. He kind of fell a little bit. I didn't really have a necessarily spot for him. Um, but and it's hard to kind of a comparison because we don't have a lot of 6'7", 6'8" point guards. But he's a guy that I would expect. He's going to the Nets, who I mean, I would assume he starts. Because why wouldn't he unless something happens in free agency? He'll probably be like a 10, 5-5 guy. Like he can do a lot of things. Again, somewhat inconsistent, but he's just got to prove people. He's just got to prove his worth, and I think he will be able to do that. Um, excuse me, I'm just looking to see if any trades happen here. Nothing really. All right. That was the Nets. The Raptors take Colin Murray Boyles. Colin Murray Boyles, I was super impressed with. Let me see what I put him as. I had Colin Murray Boyles as the 10th prospect. He's very versatile. He was a stat sheet stuffer in college, like 17, 8, 2.5 assists. Might be a little small for like to be a 4 or something. A lot of places had him at the end of the lottery. I had him at 10th. Um, his 3-point shot's not there yet, but some say you could compare him to a Draymond-esque player because of the defense. I think he very well could probably be the best defender in this class as of right now. If not one of them for sure. So I like that. Even though Raptors have a lot of forwards and he's not really a guy that can play forward center because he's 6'7". But I mean, that's a good pick when you think about you got Brandon Ingram, RJ as of now, Scotty Barnes, quickly, Grady, all these players. So 10th, the Phoenix Suns now because of the Durant get come on Malawach. Malawach, one of my favorite players here. Very hit or miss, I will say. Like he is going to really have to earn his minutes. Maybe not because Phoenix doesn't have any centers, but 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds. He shot 75% from like inside the arc in college, which is elite, but not really a 3-point shooter yet. There's not a ton of just traditional centers anymore unless you are an elite shot blocker or you are an elite you have something elite about you, and I don't know if Malawach has that right off the bat. I compared him to, I guess, Clint Capella, even though he's 7'2" and not 6'10" like Capella is. But again, he's really going to need to earn his minutes to stick, I think, because again, when you think about traditional centers, you think of Rudy Gobert, one of the best defenders in the current NBA, shot blockers, whatever. What are some other? Claxton. He was very good shot blocker at the time, whatever. Robert Williams, super athletic, all defensive center when healthy. There's not a ton of these just traditional non 3-point shooting, like not skill bigs anymore. I think he can make it work. Again, I liked him at Duke, but he just didn't. He wasn't always having the big game. He wasn't always being very dominant with his 7'2", 250 frame. But I like to pick good for the Suns. They get a center. Trailblazers take Cedric Coward. One of the guys that I was not 100% familiar with. Who did I say? He's going to the Grizzlies. I don't know if I said that. It was the Blazers pick, but they traded him to the Grizzlies. 17 just he only played 6 games. Okay. This year he was a senior. He averaged 18, just under 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.7 blocks. Forward, he shot 40% from 3. Again, only played 6 games. But if we are looking at career, his whole college career, where he played 32 and then 34 games the year before, he's about 12 points, a block and a steal, 2 assists, 6 rebounds. Seems like a really valuable player, and honestly, a pretty good pick for the Grizzlies because they don't have the greatest 3-point shooting, I will say, over there. They had like Luke Kennard last year, but like you think they traded Desmond Bain. Jalen Wells is had an okay, pretty okay 3-point shooting year, but he's a rookie, up and down, of course. Jaren, streaky guy, of course, as well. And then Zach Edey, center. Shooting's kind of what they need, so I didn't mind that pick at all. Noah Senge. Again, this is my fault for not being as in tune. This is another guy that I was not super familiar with. I believe he is French. Yeah, 6'10", 194. This past year he was 12, 5, a steal and a half a block, assist. Just under 30% from 3. I would have kind of liked to see if the Bulls took maybe like Asa Newell here, maybe Derek Queen here. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just not as informed as I should be. But as long as the Bulls didn't take a point guard or shoot it, like they're good because they've got Josh Giddey, they got Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Trey Jones, Javon Carter. Uh, um, I'm definitely missing people because there's not just 5. There's like Lonzo, like that's 6 point guards right there. The Hawks traded this pick to the Pelicans. And then they went back, I believe, to 23. If I'm correct, yes. Yes. So the Pelicans take Derek Queen. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Big man. I like it. A skilled big man nonetheless. Some people are big fans of Derek Queen. I watched some Derek Queen early on in the year. I obviously caught up on him too. 16 points, 9 rebounds. Not really a 3-point shooter yet. I don't think his first few years he is going to be a straight up center. Now, granted, he's playing with Zion, so he is definitely going to as a more skilled big, but I thought depending on the team, he would probably be playing more of a 4 position for a lot of the time because I don't think he has the most trusted defense yet either. But he's super skilled, and I'm not upset about this. They take a big man, and it is deserved. And then the last pick of the draft, steal, bro. The Spurs at 14 take Carter Bryant. Carter Bryant, I had ranked, I believe, higher than what most people did. I have him ranked as my 7th best prospect. ESPN had him 12th. No Ceilings had him 9th. And Fanspo had him 13th. He is one of the best two-way players in this draft. His numbers aren't the sexiest. 6.5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. But Actually, let me pull up everything here. Carter Bryant. 37% from three, though, on almost three attempts. He only played 19 minutes. He wasn't really even a starter. A steal and a block again in 19 minutes, over 37 games. Um, he shot 60% from two. But if we're looking at per 40 minutes, he's 13 and a half, two blocks, two steals, two assists, eight rebounds. Um, I mean, just I think that is the steal. That is such a perfect player to slip in there because if I don't know, I doubt he's going to start. But if you're telling me we're gonna have lineups of like De'Aaron, Castle, Carter Bryant, uh, who do we put in that four? Like Harrison Barnes or Jeremy Sohan, I guess, and Wemby. I think Carter Bryant fits perfectly in there. If we're not talking about obviously one and two, because one and two are the solidified like great picks here. I mean, Spurs at 14 might be my favorite pick. Spurs at 14 might be my favorite pick. Jazz, I mean, they took a risk taking Ace Bailey. Who knows how he's going to respond to that? But I mean, it's a good situation for him, like if playing wise. Granted, not a winning team, not the best built together, but they got guards between Keontae and Collier. They got bigs between Walker Kessler, Filipowski. They took Cody Williams last year, who didn't pan out too great yet. Um, but I think it's a good spot for him. And then hold on a second. Sorry, I'm scrambling. There's a lot going on. But let's talk about our trade. Mark Williams to the Phoenix Suns for the number 29th pick tonight and a 2029 first round pick. That is the least favorable of Cleveland, Utah, and Minnesota. 1 through 5 protected. And now the Suns have two good centers. I mean, man, I don't know how much I've said it on this channel, but dude, I think if Mark Williams can play a whole like a relatively healthy season, like a 65-70 game season, dude, he is such a good center, man. I hate what happens and what goes around his name. I thought LA would have been perfect for him if the trade didn't get rescinded. He's just had a rough start to his career, and I am such a big Mark Williams believer. I love that Phoenix got him. I think that trade is like you look at Charlotte, right? Like they're Charlotte. I kind of assumed he was going to get traded because they traded him and he got rescinded. Probably left a sour taste in his mouth because hey, these guys tried to trade me and now I'm back on the team because my physical sucked at the time. So good. So I think the Suns got to the center. So now they got Malawach and Mark Williams in the same night. Perfect. Both Dookies. Um, both drafted, I think, around the same. Because what Malawach was drafted, 10th. I think Mark Williams was drafted, um, like 11th, maybe 12th, 15th. Okay, 15th. So they were drafted around the same. They're Duke players. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love that trade for Phoenix. Hopefully, he can be healthy, and then obviously, it's a good trade for Charlotte because they get the 29th pick, and then they get a future first. That who knows if it conveys or whatnot. But I just before we get out of here, I just want to see uh there are any too many trades. I've seen some. Obviously, we talked about the trade in the lottery. Um, Grizzlies, obviously trade for Cedric Cower, like we said. And then Portland took a player from China. I'm not gonna mispronounce his name, but a surprise pick there. Washington traded Walter Clayton, who was the 18th pick to Utah. So Walter Clayton's going to Utah now. Utah sending 43 and second rounders in 2031 and 2032 in that trade. And some news before the draft happened. Let's see. So Kyrie declined his $43 million player option, so he signed a 3-year, $119 million deal with a player option in the 2028 season. Not too big, honestly. It's almost 40 million annually, so it's a little less, but he did tear his ACL. Some people think he got lowballed, but hey, that's what happens. The amount of Jalen Brown and Derek White things I have seen is ridiculous, but no, I can't imagine any of that's happening. Fred VanVleet signs a 2-year, $50 million contract to stay with the franchise with a player option in 2027. That's a lot for Fred VanVleet. I get he was valuable, but bro, 2-year, 50 million for a player that was not very efficient, I don't believe. Like, he's a good leader, he's a good playmaker, but I mean, if we're looking at splits, 34% from three on almost 8 attempts and 37% from the field. That's not good shooting at all. And 81% from the free throw line, which is a career low. That, ugh. The 3-point shooting last year, a career low, and field goal percentage was a career low minus his rookie season. That's a lot of money for Fred VanVleet. Do they have what it is yearly? No, they don't. Not yet. At least not in Basketball Reference. But that's a lot. I mean, he's a good player. I think it'll be fine to have him there, but that's a lot for a guy who shot career lows across the board, and it was ugly shooting too. John Collins accepted his $26.5 million player option. Be a mistake not to. I don't think he would get paid that much. I kind of want him on a different team, though. I think he's super valuable if he goes to like a New York, an LA, a Cleveland, something like that. And yeah, that's about it. The draft lottery was super eventful. I can't wait to see all these players in their new destinations for real. Again, I am not the most knowledgeable, so please don't attack me in the comments if you think I said something wrong. I don't know a ton, especially as we get towards the bottom of the lottery and out of the lottery. So please take things I'm saying with a grain of salt. Again, don't come to me for draft advice for this year. But it's always super fun watching the draft, man. Looking at suits and who was dressed nice and who was dressed horribly. I will say I'm a sucker for black and red, so Ace Bailey, I like that. Even though I don't the whole jewel thing, but I like the black and red. So I think Ace Bailey was probably dressed the best in the lottery. And then I'm not gonna lie, Trey Johnson, dude, kind of bogus. I'm not gonna lie. The shorts, I do not like the shorts, dude. And then there is somebody who is, man, there are trades happening left and right in the bottom of this. So if you want to see, so pretty much Thomas Sorber went to the Thunder at 15. The player from China went to the Trailblazers at 16. Joan Behringer went to the Timberwolves at 17. Walter Clayton got traded at 18. Nolan Traore went to the Nets. Yaka Chonas fell a lot to Miami. I think that's a good pick for Miami. Granted, he had a kind of a rough year too, but who had there's somebody at the draft. Neek Clifford. That jacket is loud, and I don't mind it. I don't mind the jacket. But that's a loud jacket. But thank you for watching, of course. Draft is over. We get really into free agency now. Again, things aren't officially official until July 6th, I believe, but we're seeing a lot of crazy things here. And the draft and the offseason has been a big W so far, and the NBA Finals ended like 3 days ago. We haven't even gotten to the meat of the off season yet, which I hope doesn't mean that we're done with all the big stuff and all the big stuff came now. But there's still valuable players in free agency that can make a difference depending on where they go. Granted, it's not a superstar. They might not either. They're not even all stars, I'd say, but they can make a difference. But thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment as well. Let me know what you guys think about the draft as a whole, the draft lottery, what your team did, who you think was the biggest winners and biggest losers of the draft, and everything that you're excited for the draft. Thank you for watching, and remember to enjoy basketball.